Hello, I'm Mark Schildhouse, and because things on the internet seem to lose their date references pretty easily, today is Wednesday, October 16th, 2024. On Tuesday, September 10th, 2024, we visited the Foley Railroad Museum in Foley, Alabama. And we had done some researching, trying to find a place to visit, and this one came up. Not sure how we did the location of it, but in reading it, said this is a place we got to go to. We want to see it. It is listed as a railroad museum. The depot was part of what brought us in, and the model railroad layout is the other of the two major elements. When we got there, we found out that we had connections to this area that we hadn't quite expected. So, kind of dragging this out a little bit, first, we love model railroading, and they had a model railroad that was very well written up and very well detailed, and that is a really super place to go and see model railroads, particularly if you have youngsters, because the aisle to view the railroad layout is elevated over the layout. So instead of looking across it, you're looking down at it. And we were there with a military family, Army armor, I think, and they had 3 or 4 small kids with them, and these kids just absolutely loved this. And the people that were working on the model railroad were talking to the kids and having a lot of fun, and that's what it's all about. Unfortunately, the hours, days and hours of the museum that are open are restricted, so check the homepage. The other thing is, one of the other things is, they have a short consist, a EMD SW-1 switcher, which could use some attention, and a couple of boxcars and a caboose that is very well taken care of. The caboose is very well taken care of and really educational and informative. So then you step into the depot building, and the depot building is absolutely positively magnificent in workmanship, presentation, and not only is it talking about the railroad, it's talking about the town. And we found out that Foley, Alabama was founded by a guy from Chicago, our hometown. John Foley found out about the area from someone while he was attending President McKinley's funeral, and bought some land in the area, came down, looked at it, bought some land in the area, and then went back to Chicago and sold off parcels to people from Chicago. So it's referred to as Little Chicago, which is kind of cool. It also has an area airport, Barron Field. While I was getting my commission in Pensacola, Florida in 1975, I was flying out of NAS Sofley Field doing touch and goes at NAF Barron, Naval Air Facility Barron, or Naval Auxiliary Field Barron. And so we have some connections. Anyways, really cool museum, small, really nicely detailed, really well taken care of. The people there are super. Admission is free, parking is free. The town is really, really nice, really, really friendly. Highly recommend you stop by. I realize it's out of the way, but it is totally enjoyable, especially if you have youngsters. Thanks for watching. Hope you see you in another one. Thanks for watching. See you later. Bye. For our long vacation, we were using several search engines, looking for things like railroad museums, aviation museums, whatever else, and got recommendations from fellow hobbyists in railroads and airplanes, boats, cars, whatever. And the Foley Railroad Museum was one of them, and it was a bit out of the way, but we decided, after investigating it a little bit, we decided to add it in, and this video is our visit through the Foley Railroad Museum in Foley, Alabama, and you need to stop and pause, maybe back up and get these two city plaques and read what they say about Foley. The town was founded by John Foley of Chicago. Joyce and I are both from Chicago. due to education in the Navy and careers. It's long been in our rearview mirror. But the town was founded and significantly funded by John Foley from Chicago. And it is referred to as Little Chicago, which is like kind of cool. Outside of the museum, there is a city park that you might see some photos of later on, and this speeder, and it's kind of cool. In the early 1900s, as Foley was being populated by people primarily from Chicago, I guess, according to as the write-up implies, the Louisiana and Nashville Railroad, the L&N, supplied the line on a train they referred to as the Pine Knot Special. And there are some pictures of it as we get into the museum building itself. And parked alongside the historic station, which is got a history as you read the signage. There is a short consist, a EMD SW-1 that evidently was an L&N locomotive at one time, and a couple of boxcars, Frisco and L&N, and then a caboose. And the caboose is very, very well restored. As you can see, the SW-1 is protected by glass, plexiglass, whatever else. The reflectivity of that is just really annoying. The caboose is very well documented, and the cupola, the hatch on the top that you can sit in and look out is actually open, which is kind of unusual. Many museums won't allow you to climb up there. There is a physical risk, and it is very well documented as to what happened in the caboose and why they're gone and what's replaced them. This is maybe something that kids would like to visit and see, and you can learn about all sorts of interesting things about an era of trains long gone. Some interesting signage as to how trains were identified day, night, running forward or running backwards was also in the caboose. As seen in this panel of pictures, there was a lot of educational information in this caboose, and been in a number of train museums. A lot of museums put up information about cabooses, about train operations, about train crews. I think this museum was probably the most prolific and probably the best presentation we'd seen in quite a while. It was enjoyable, and this is the sort of thing that's going to educate the individuals that are not knowledgeable, like me, extremely knowledgeable about trains and how they operate or how they operated, because the caboose is gone. This Louisville and Nashville boxcar and this Frisco boxcar are the other two consists. Neither of them are open. What do you see inside a boxcar? A big open vat, a big open area, but you could use it to present all sorts of things about railroads and whatever else. And those panels that we're talking about, how trains were marked, could be done large format in these. However, it would require that you set up electricity to them and whatever else. It's available space. They were very well maintained exterior wise. Somebody with imagination, skill, tools, and material built this really cute train for kids to enjoy. The portion of the museum that really pulled us in, that we had previewed, was the model railroad layout. And this is the entrance and the entry into the building. And it is really, really well done. And there's a number of models, model railroading things that are up on displays, miscellaneous items from railroad history. There's a library off on the side, that reference library, and the layout. And the layout is O gauge, Lionel O gauge, 3 rail stuff. So It's kind of loud, it's kind of fun, and the individuals that were working on it were extremely friendly. Video does it best, so we're going to show you some videos and let the noise generate.
She was never big into Tom.
No, Thomas just...
That's one of the things. It was like nervous things.
Ankle sprain.
If you stand up, you can see, you see filtering from it. It's filtering up
You see the walls on the big screen over there. 14 months to make it. You see the walls and
They put those plates on the engine to control the airflow, to try to keep it clean for the crew.
I like the houses. See the people wiggling over?
No, but I'll come back and get it.
Airplane in the sky.
This was a beautiful, large railroad, and I think kids, because you're on a raised platform looking down on this layout, kids actually love it. We were there with another family, I believe it was an Army family, and they had 3 or 4 kids with them, and the kids were just totally enthused with this. And the people that were in the museum, the scalers themselves, they were talking to the kids and they were just having a ball. In the same building as the Scale Railroad is this reference library, and they've got a number of memorabilia things around, and out in the other area is this bell from the Erie and Lackawanna Railroad. I believe it would be the Erie and Lackawanna. And we step back to the museum's restored depot from years past. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful workmanship in this facility. Hardwood floors, slatted walls, whatever else. And a number of things in here about how the town of Foley was founded, created by John Foley. Came down, bought several thousand acres, went back to Chicago, sold those off in parcels, and then funded the town for schools and churches and roadways and the railroads and whatever else. So it's a complete museum of the town history and how this building came back to be in the status that it is, and some interesting things about the agriculture and business of the area. But the thing that just made us giggle right off the bat was the fact that it is referred to as Little Chicago due to John Foley. And because the depot served both sides of the L&N, the passenger and the freight side, that first section of the museum is the freight side. It has the elevated floor, so you're going straight horizontal into the freight cars, into the box cars. And the second portion is the passenger area with the waiting area and wherever else down at ground level, so people didn't have to climb upstairs and then climb downstairs, because passenger cars normally have their stairs attached. They quote-unquote carry them with them. So You have two sections of the museum. You have the freight section, which is open as that display, beautiful display area, and then the passenger section with numerous things about railroad history inside of it. With a clip about hobo shorthand, which we now see in many railroads. This is the Pine Knot Special. As it's detailed in the museum. Kind of an interesting history. It's a steamer. It is a wood-burning steamer. You can tell that by looking at the smokestack, which is a funnel series. And what happens is the air slows down. The temperature comes out of the wood ashes, so that when they end up on the ground, they have a lower probability of starting a fire. And potatoes evidently played a big role in the area, maybe root vegetables, potatoes, beets, carrots, those sorts of things. But here was a display about potatoes in particular, and burlap bags, and a potato grater and how it was used. It was kind of interesting. You wonder how things came along. Plus, they had a nice house, and they had a mold, so they would have actually had to, I suspect, either generate the cold locally, mechanically, or bring it in from the north on those boxcars. As depicted in the pictures of the era, this was obviously an era of manual labor and young labor. And this area is the story of John Foley. He hears about the area when he is attending President McKinley's funeral from someone. He comes down to the area, purchases 40,000 acres, forms the land company, goes back to Chicago, starts selling the lots off to people from Chicago. Hence it develops the name Little Chicago, and he continues to support the town and assisting in building churches, streets, town halls, the depot, getting the railroad to come in. So he doesn't abandon the town. He doesn't take his money and run. Those strange tie-ins to history played into this particular visit. In 1942, World War II, the U.S. Navy takes over the airport and renames the airport Barron Field and starts positioning people there for training and in response to the need for naval aviators. Well, getting my naval commission in Pensacola, Florida, I flew out of Softly Field, NAS Softly Field, with VT-1 Flight 13, flying the Beechcraft T-34 Bravo trainer, and I did touch and goes at Barron Field. It was referred to as Bloody Barron just to kind of scare you. And in the museum, they had this section about the Baldwin County authors, and you look at some of the books, and you realize, hey, I've read some of these books, or I've seen the movies, and they had a number of authors. It was interesting that the town is trying to recognize itself, and they appreciate that fact, and they did a very, very good job of it. And here's a couple of shots of the city park that surrounds the depot, and I wanted to find out what this tower was about, and I forgot all about it. I got distracted and I went away, but this clock tower looks really, really beautiful, and it looks like it's there for a special reason, and I never found out, and that disappoints me. The anchor was interesting. Somebody pulled it up out of the bottom of the Gulf of Mexico and decided that maybe the town could use it. So maybe it anchors the park. Our visit to Foley, and I don't have the pictures of the town. The town is nice. The town is very, very friendly. The town is very open, very, very arboristic. There are lots of trees. Absolutely love the area. And we spent probably 2 to 2.5 hours at the museum. Really enjoyed our visit. The guests, the people at the museum were really friendly. The other guests at the museum, the family, military family, was super. They had a couple of kids, really had fun with them, and really enjoyed this museum. The question is it out of the way? Oh, it is out of the way, but it is well worth the detour if you're into model railroading, or if you just want to take life easy for a while. This was an absolutely fun stop along our long vacation. Hope you enjoyed it. This was enjoyable for us, and I fully support this museum. This is fun.